Grave Reviews. This is Chris.
Have you tracked the children?
There's no children here. It's not safe for them.
This is Alan, and Chris is right. Grave Reviews is intended for mature audiences. Your discretion is advised. Grave Reviews presents Thursday Night Frights.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Alan with Grave Reviews. I hope you are having a wonderful evening tonight. I am very excited to talk to you about one of my favorite characters, probably the longest running character in cinematic history tonight. And Chris, so let me ask you, how was your week, my friend?
I was a week. Nice that we had Thursday off and we had to push the show to today, which was good because then I got to watch Godzilla Minus One 2 more times.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. I checked out the black and white version.
Ooh, you know what? I didn't get to do that. I was like arm twisting that that we had to watch it a couple more times. Well, I want to apologize to everyone who happens to be listening to the fact that we did have to take last week off. We were so excited to bring this to you, but while I love being an adult because it allows me to have a beverage, cheers everyone,
Cheers.
as well as other things, it also requires adulting, which truly sucks. I'm seeing in the chat by Miss LG that she says she is a grandma.
Yeah, we've got some floofy additions. The stray cat that she has fed through the winter was a mama cat, and she brought her two babies out to see us. And damn it, now I like cats.
Damn it. I love
Especially one is like a ghosty gray with like these steel colored eyes. So yeah.
I love cats outside. So when I was young, my parents would, especially my dad, would have nothing to do with cats in the house, and my neighbors had cats who we were very close friends with. Matter of fact, still are to this day. And but I would walk out on my front porch. I'd yell for my cat, which was Ace, right? Because he was black as the ace of spades with bright yellow eyes. He looked like he should have been in a witch's familiar in any horror story. And I would walk on my front porch and I'd yell for Ace, and Ace would come running and climb my pants leg and sit on my shoulder right here. And then I would ride my bike through the neighborhood with that cat sitting on my shoulder.
Nice.
No exaggeration. Really super cool. Hey, we've got some great people popping into the chat here real quick. I see we had, of course, LG and Miss Mar. God love you. I hope you're feeling much better very soon.
Definitely.
Mr. Charles Westcott, it's good to see you as well. And I'm really hoping that we have some more people hopping in tonight as well. Or if you're happen to be catching this broadcast from either X or as we like to call it, Twitter or Twix, Twix a lot. If you happen to be watching on Twix or you happen to be watching on one of the other platforms, please feel free to join us on YouTube. Step on over and click that link and come in and be a part of the Talking Dead. We'd love to be able to have you in the conversation with us as we talk about Godzilla.
This is. I'm going to be right up front with this. This is one of those movies that we have been like dying to talk about since it first came out, because not only is it new, but it is such a good movie. I mean,
really,
remove Godzilla from. I mean, and they have removed him from good segments of this movie, and you're still just. Yeah, you're just enthralled by it.
I was having a discussion with someone this week who said to me, he goes, "Hey, I understand that you do horror reviews. Why are you reviewing Godzilla? Godzilla is not a horror movie." And I'm like, well, okay, I'll give you that for the most part, but his origin, the bookends, right? The newest, last Toho movie are horrifically scary. Very good. This movie is it's not your I love that. movie isn't your grandpa's meat, LOL, Godzilla. And
Yep.
you're right. I mean, this is if you're expecting to watch this and see the Megalon or Gigan era, for those of you who watch Godzilla, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm.
That's not this at all. This is very much like the original Goji. Very
Yeah.
dark, very horrifying. He does not care one way or another if you're human, not human, if you're driving military vehicles, not driving. He's definitely not going to run from anybody. He
He's
is
he
a
fits the bill of a monster in a monster movie, and
yes.
this is the kaiju of old, back to Godzilla's roots, where he comes and destroys Tokyo. I mean,
Yep.
that's what he do.
Yeah.
Eventually, he decides to team up with all kinds of monsters. And this is definitely not the American version of Godzilla, where he is King Kong's buddy, and they're like a buddy cop movie. I think was the last movie,
Which was great. I mean, which is fun. Don't get me wrong.
definitely. Oh, absolutely.
It's definitely
Action.
not horror. Yeah, definitely not horror. And this is a movie that I'm going to be honest with you. Chris and I are probably going to gush over this movie for the next half hour or so. And we hope that you've seen it and you want to gush with us, because I'm going to tell you right now, this movie was A, horrifying, and B, beautiful. You could have taken Godzilla out of this movie completely, made it about the big bombs because they weren't mentioned yet, right?
Right.
And this movie would have been a wonderful movie because they built the characters for the first time ever in a Godzilla movie. The human characters are actually wonderfully told. You care about who they are and what they're doing, and I love it. Charles, a great statement. Charles says the tension was excellent and the story was touching. Very unexpected masterpiece, and that's the way I felt too. I went to this movie by myself, Chris.
Right.
With the intention of just enjoying a kaiju film, which is
Yeah.
why. And I walked out going, man, that was freaking beautiful.
Right, dude.
I didn't expect it. I didn't at all.
And even picking it back up since the first time watching, we were going to do the show, so I threw it back in, and I'm watching it. I was doing it at work on the big screen, doing paperwork and watching it. And at the end, I'm finding myself like I'm just stopped working and I'm watching the end, and it's over, and like, man, Toho made me tear up over his characters, and it wasn't Godzilla.
Exactly.
What? Yeah, exactly. I'm not crying. You're crying.
Yeah, I didn't cry. You cried. I saw the. Yeah, your tear was on my face. I don't know how that happened.
Right. Yeah. Nobody makes me cry my own tears. No, this was an interesting movie. Love the premise of the great writing comes from the fact that our main character, Shikishima Koichi,
Yes.
he is a kamikaze pilot that.
Wait a minute. Before you get in there.
Yeah. Oh, you got.
I have to. I have ventured into the synopsis.
Oh, yeah, give it to us.
I would love to take a moment and give you my synopsis. Godzilla Minus One. It's a post-World War II Japan is already having a rough day when Godzilla, the ultimate in cranky lizards, decides to crash the party. Koichi, a former kamikaze pilot with a serious case of survivor's guilt, just wants to sip on some sake, rebuild his life, but now he's all, I survived the war, now a giant monster comes up from the depths, 40 stories high, and he's on the loose. No fancy tech or monster slaying budget, Koichi and a ragtag crew of fishermen, mechanics, and one very stressed out scientist devise a plan to yeet Godzilla back into the ocean using boats and brains instead of bombs. Spoiler, Godzilla's not impressed by their can-do spirit, and he really, really hates boats. Between epic kaiju tantrums, heartfelt moments, and a found family, Japan gut-wrenching resilience, this flick is a wild ride of city-smashing chaos with a side of why us. Will they sink the spiky grump? Or is it, oh no, there goes Tokyo. Grab your life jacket and let's find out together.
Nice. Great synopsis.
Thank you.
Yeah,
um,
well put together. Yeah, this is where the great story writing really comes in, and we hope that American, like Hollywood, could get behind something where this story is to get you so invested in these characters. Exactly, the mechanic and the scientist, that poor scientist out there.
Charles.
So this starts with our main cast, our main guy here, Koichi, that he has engine trouble and
Yeah.
flies to the island where the mechanics are on Odo Island in order to have it checked out. And we come to find out that he knows, and they know, and they know that he knows, and he knows that they know
And
that
no
he
one
knows.
realizes and knows that
There's
there's
nothing
no.
wrong with the plane.
Yeah.
He was like, and it's it says something to what the end of the war was.
Yeah.
Japan was ready to just, literally like just throw bodies at the war,
Yeah.
and it turned the people into it was better to be honorable in death than to survive this, and it
It,
really ingrained that in the people of
they
Japan.
really, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but to stress that point a little bit, what they did was they literally took the whole samurai style mythos and said, "Hey, you know, to die an honorable death is a better death than to not," and so they kind of pushed those soldiers towards that. Well, you know, K- Kyoto's flying this plane, and he's like, "You know what? No, that's
And,
not."
what did he tell his parents? He told his parents when they said, "We want you to come back alive." And
Yeah,
it's that's sitting in his head. And then when he realizes that everybody knows what's going on, and he sits there, the guilt starts to set in. And this is where we really see Godzilla almost as an allegory to his guilt.
yes,
Godzilla is the manifestation of his survivor's guilt, and because he's not long on Odo Island when out of the depths, 30 stories tall, a kaiju with a bad case of atomic breath. Um,
and as soon as he hit the shore, I was like, "Yay!"
and he was like, "Rawr."
Exactly.
Yeah, come
So
on. When he lets out that first roar, it was just like,
yeah,
oh
and
wow.
I don't know about you, Chris, but myself, the first time I saw it, I was like, "Wait a minute, he's awful small here. Why
Right.
is he that?" Because he's only a little bit above a normal T Rex
Hmm.
size the first time we see him,
Right.
and he looks a little different than he will through the rest of the movie. But
Mhm.
man, it was wonderful, and I love the fact that they're all in the in the bunker. They're in the pit, and he's like, and
Mhm.
he's telling me, he's like, what is it, like a 20 millimeter or whatever?
20 millimeter. Yep.
20 millimeter, anything can kill it. The 20 millimeter can kill anything, whatever. And he runs out, gets in a plane, and he freezes. He can't do it,
Yeah.
which is a good thing he didn't, because as we know, it's Godzilla. He would have just he'd just turn around and did he have a bad Godzilla on this island? Didn't he have a bad case of let me pick you up and throw you?
Yeah. I mean, he pulled off some like Jurassic Park T-Rex moves with biting guys in half and tossing them, and has a moment to look at our 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 famed survivor, because by the time it's over, he has a look with Godzilla, and Godzilla leaves him alone just long enough for him to exit the plane before he eats it,
Yeah.
um,
Oh, so
and just takes out every single mechanic on the island except for one guy. And that one guy looks at Koichi as, "You're the reason why everyone's dead, because
yeah.
you didn't pull the trigger on that plane, which would have killed the monster. You know, damn you." And here are the pictures that I have taken from all of the men here, and I hand them to you. And it's just piled the guilt on with more guilt.
Yeah,
And
and you're really starting to
the
feel it.
beginning of this is rough. I mean, he comes home and his neighbor's like, "Wait, weren't you a kamikaze? What are you doing here?
Yeah,
Like you are a piece of because
yeah.
you didn't kill yourself."
And not only that, but she says something here that it kind of glazes by quickly. But if you caught it, it was really deep on the mental state of mind. She's
Mhm.
like, they have just been firebombed. right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
reason everything's. I mean, and which was if you know anything about the world, that was a horrible thing that happened. They had this fire. They were just firebombed, and she literally looks at me and goes, "This is your fault. It's people like you who didn't do their jobs. That's why
If
we're
you
like
did your
this."
duty, we
Yeah,
wouldn't have been bombed. That,
yeah,
and it's really, and it's that shift where you start seeing now he's home, his house, his parents were killed in the bombings. He's going to rebuild this shack that is all fallen apart into his own home. And um, while we're there, you kind of get that the transition where they realize that the emperor, he knew this was a no win situation,
yep,
especially with what ends up happening, and that we have to change the mentality of our country, that it's not better to die for a losing war. I mean, the pain and the suffering, the starvation, it was just a start for this, because minus one is literally Japan just got knocked down almost to the Stone Age
yeah,
when it
yeah.
comes to everything being destroyed. And now there's a damn 30-story monster trying to break what's left of our city. Minus one.
And it's fun.
They are behind the eight ball, and it's rough. And our main guy, while walking around,
Yep.
finds a woman who's carrying a baby, and
He
she
doesn't
hands him
find
the
her.
baby.
She runs by him. Is like, here, take
Here,
the
take this.
ball.
Take this, and then leaves. And then we find out that he sits there all day until he finally gets up, and she's like, "Well, I wasn't gonna." She comes out of nowhere. I wasn't gonna come to you while you're out in the open. I was waiting for you to get up. And
So
it's like, why didn't you walk away?
I
Because it's
think
a
that we just
baby.
had a reminder from one of our chat here. Um,
Oh,
we
yes,
must, because I do believe that you're right. This is Backyard Tardis's first time here.
absolutely.
Thank you for joining us, Charles, tonight, and thank you again for reminding us that BYT was here for the first time. Because, as we like to say when you're here,
Gabba gabba, we accept you, one of us. Gabba gabba, we accept you, one of us.
yeah, there you go. BYT, you are now a member of the Talking Dead simply by being here, and we accept you. You are one of us.
One of us. Welcome. Welcome.
It's funny. He says, I'm not normally here because he doesn't do horror, but he's a big Godzilla fan. I'm going to tell you right now, BYT, you're going to find that we attack horror a little different than most people, and we like to have a little bit of fun with it, and we're not afraid
Definitely.
to cut it down and laugh at it. So you should stop in more often. You really
Absolutely.
should. We're glad to
Great
hear
having you here. Great having you here. And this was where we really get deep into this movie, where you get invested in these characters. You find out that let me bring up the cast here, because I'm terrible with the names on this one.
Oh, yeah.
But
and I will say this too: if you do decide to watch this, if you haven't seen it yet, and you decide to watch it on Netflix, watch it in Japanese with English subtitles. It changes the whole feel of the
It does.
movie. Makes it much easier, much more fun to enjoy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
No, this is good. This is where we meet Noriko. We find out that during the bombings, she found the baby. It's not her baby.
Yes.
And again, just like Koichi, you can't just leave a baby. So she takes the baby on. And this is where the neighbor that is totally against anything that's going on realizes that, wait a minute, it's not her baby. You have no business taking care of this baby, because she lost her children in the bombings. And she kind of comes in as the auntie, surrogate kind of mother figure to help raise our little one. And it's basically them trying to build a life.
From nothing. Build
from
a life
nothing.
from nothing.
And we don't get anything from Koichi, because he looks at it as the survivor's guilt is hitting hard, that he should have died, so he needs to keep fighting. And if that means taking care of the family, taking care of Noriko, taking care of the baby, taking care of the house, this is everything that's his mission in life.
Yes.
He has no time for love. He has no time for relationships. And poor Noriko kind of accepts the fact that she's playing house with a man that she really loves, but can't love her back because his war is not over.
Right, and I love the scenes where he's having the flashbacks in his dreams,
Oh, can't
and
tell if he's awake or
yeah,
asleep.
and every time she scoops him up and holds him until he's over it, and I'm like, and again, you're sitting there and you feel for him in such a way, but you also at this point in time you're feeling for her because you're like, dude, you want to smack him and go, dude, can't you see that this woman is going to, she's willing to sacrifice everything because you showed her compassion at the
Yep.
time that she needed it. And oh my gosh, it was so good. And the way as the movie progresses, right?
Yeah.
And the baby's getting older and how the people from his new job, which I'll let you explain that in just a second, how
Mhm.
they all start to build this nucleus together, and they're not
Yeah.
all related, but yet they all
It's like a weird blended family.
yeah,
It's
it's
kind of
so
it's kind of
good.
like how we are. You have you have friends that become family, and
Yep,
some of those bonds with friendship is thicker than blood.
absolutely.
And that's where you kind of see where we're progressing to now. Koichi's he's trying to rebuild, but post-war Japan, there's not much to do. There's no money to be had. There's no food, and they've got to do something. So he takes a job. Um, Deactivating mines, basically cutting them from their tethers and then shooting them with a gun so they explode. And it pays really well, and that's what's going to help him. And you have Noriko telling him like, "No, I don't want you doing this," and he misses those hints and those cues
Yep.
that we. Where it's she cares about you. She doesn't want to see anything happen to you. The money doesn't mean anything.
No, not at all.
If and he's looking at it as I was supposed to have passed by doing my duty, and if it happens here, then
Then I'm
I'm
doing it
redeemed.
again,
I'm
right?
redeemed. He's looking
Exactly.
for that redemption of giving his life for his country, and it's such a wild ride to go on.
It really is.
Because it's funny because you're watching this Godzilla movie and I'm really invested in these characters that I hope they don't get eaten because you got me really invested in these guys right now.
And
And
when she takes a job,
yep,
right? And I love this scene because when he comes home and she's dressed in the in her new work uniform and she's like, oh, I took a job, and he this is when he starts to realize, wait a minute, I might have waited too long, you
yeah.
know?
Is she looking to find a suitor?
Yeah.
It's moving on.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
he's well, what who's gonna take care of the baby? Well, the neighbor's gonna take care of the baby,
right,
and I just sat there going, I'm literally at this point in time, I'm going, dude, don't let her go. Right?
right, right. Yeah. What are you doing? Like seriously, what are you? And the moment that they have over dinner with the friends. We have the goofy scientist,
Yes.
physicist, and the fishermen that are all going these dinky little boats to blow up mines, are all having dinner together. And they think it's mother, father, Akiko is their baby. And they're blown away by the fact that, like, what do you mean? That you're not a family? The hell you aren't a family. Well, you're playing family. What do you? And they can't get it, and they're trying to get into them. Like, you might not want it, but you have it.
Yes.
What are you doing? Don't let it go.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely. And literally he says he looks at him, it's like, what are you doing? You know?
yeah.
Yeah,
What,
this would be
what are
like
you
this is like,
thinking?
this be like me and Mar sitting across the table from Chris and Kelly. I'd like Chris, dude,
Mhm.
what are you fucking doing?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Uh,
You've also you're absolutely correct. We literally just we basically opened the show with that sentiment that we walked into the theater wanting to see a kaiju film and walked out crying, going, man, that was freaking beautiful.
yeah.
And Chris,
Almost touching on a period piece,
yeah,
on top of a kaiju movie. And it's really good because this is where, we start at this point. Godzilla is a legend. He's what villagers say,
yeah,
when you see deep sea fish coming to the surface, Godzilla's near. That's what happened before he hit Odo Island.
yes,
And he notices, these things popping up while they're out there trying to get these mines.
yeah.
And wouldn't you know it, he's much bigger than he was.
Oh yeah, he's grown tremendously.
Much bigger.
And when you get to the scene, the end of this scene where you, and we're trying to be vague just in case you haven't seen it, but when they get to the end of the scene where they damage him tremendously,
Yeah, with the mine in the mouth.
and you see his face
Yeah, just
healing like this, and then he just up and dives. I'm like, I was watching. Okay, all right. So I have to say, this is the time for this now.
okay.
This movie, it cost they spent less than 15 million to make this movie. We all know that Japan is not known for their CGI, right? And this
Right.
is the first. Well, no, not the first. Shin was the first, but
Shit,
uh,
yeah.
this one was made for less than 15 million. Marvel, right? Marvel is known for it, whether you like their movies or not, they will spend the money so that when you see it, it's a beautiful sight. No matter which one it is, it's a
Right.
beautiful sight. I mean, I watched some of their Netflix stuff, and I'm not a big fan, but I'm like, it's still pretty to see.
Mhm.
They spent $131 million to get CGI like this and Ant-Man. 131 million. Godzilla less than 15, and you're seeing this on screen. And I'm telling you right now, when I was in the theater, when he walked around the corner
Ooh.
like that, and that original theme music started playing in the background, I
Oh,
got cold chills. I was amazed. Um,
yeah.
beautiful. Anyway,
So good. The roar, the just every bit of it. And this is what shows like Marvel, the bigger Hollywood studios, like
yes,
you could throw money at CGI, but if you don't have the story behind it, it's meaningless. It really
exactly.
is. It could be a pretty movie. It could be an adventure. I mean, the money that Hollywood's throwing at Kong and with the Nintendo Power Glove and Godzilla running around. I mean, a lot of money thrown at fun movie, action movie. But
But well, here's my example. Let's take the story behind this
Mhm.
versus King of the Monsters,
Right,
right? They had Mothra, Rodan, they had Godzilla, of course, and they had King Ghidorah or Ghidra,
yeah,
which movie you're watching.
right,
Um, you had the four biggest of all time. All they had to do was write a script that made you interested in
right.
characters, and it would have been a
Beautiful,
huge tracts of land.
huge.
It would have been huge. And but instead they half-ass wrote a story and then floored you with with the visuals.
Yeah,
I love the movie.
fun,
Loved it. But
fun.
you've got Millie Bobby Brown and that cast, and that's the story you gave us?
Yeah,
Come on, Hollywood. You can do
we
so
have
much
no
better
idea
than
who
that.
these actors were in Minus One. Not
Nope.
a clue who they were, and
None.
every one of them brought something to the table. Whether it be the goofy scientist, the know-it-all fisherman, the old mechanic that he tracks down to help.
Yeah.
All of them have such depth to the character that you
They
pick up
all
on.
do. And the guy, the mechanic, like you said, that they had to track down. When they finally find him, he basically he's like an alcoholic and his legs busted and all this stuff.
Yeah,
He's angry at the world
stunned.
and whatever. And you sit there and you go, man, I feel that. And here's the thing that's beautiful about it. He got that way because of a Godzilla. So he had a huge monster that tore him up, and you're feeling bad for him. You're not sitting there
Right,
thinking, "Oh, that's stupid." No, you're buying it because the story works.
right.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, we're gonna blubber about this film. I'm telling you we are.
Because this is basically what they kind of play out in the movie is that after the war, America is like, listen, you're going to be in charge of cleaning everything up. We're
Yeah,
not going to use our equipment in order to do these things. We'll pay you well, but you're doing it. So that's where they're out there taking mines out and risking their lives on these tiny little wooden boats, shooting at you know magnetic mines, which
yes.
is and then they're tasked with the one that's like, okay, we all know Godzilla's coming. He's a real
Yeah,
thing now.
yeah.
They try to hide it from the public. That they play it down. That really wasn't nothing. the moment where that mine goes off in Godzilla's mouth and he looks like Gus from Breaking Bad, where it's just he sinks down in the water, but you immediately start seeing this regenerative force rebuilding his bone structure and his skin, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. When you see that thing go off, and the first thing you're like, okay, that was Kurt Russell on Bone Tomahawk.
Right.
If you guys, if you don't know,
you know, you know. Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
know, you know.
You're like, oh man, that was one heck of a way to kill. Oh, he didn't kill him.
Oh, no. Anyway.
Oh no, you guys better run away.
Run away. Run away. You know, and then they task these mine fishers. I think that's really a good way to put it. They task these mine fishers with going out and trying to delay Godzilla reaching Tokyo so that they have time to get their battleships in order.
Right. Get the tanks ready. Get all hands on deck.
But when you see that scene when Godzilla attacks that battleship, I was just literally, and I know it's CGI. It's pretty obvious CGI.
Yeah.
And I'm still sitting there going, literally like, close to. I mean,
it's great. And I love
in the theater on how beautiful this thing is shot. Right. Yep. Oh my gosh. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you get Shikishima comes back and telling Noriko, like, basically spells it all out. There is a giant dinosaur thing in the water, and we've seen it, and we tried to kill it, and it didn't work, and we're screwed. Like, this isn't good. Like, he came out of the water like, oh no, like,
and he was like,
no, and wouldn't you know it, Godzilla makes landfall in the town that Noriko has gone and gotten her job, and dude, he comes ashore and starts wrecking stuff. And
hey, right now, this shot that they showed in the trailer was one of the most beautiful, well shot. This could have been anything. This could have been me or you. This could have been a mass murder. This could have been a Western hero. Could have been anything. When they showed her as she's looking through the glass, and you see the reflection of Godzilla in the glass, that shot sold me instantly. I was just like,
you get the chills. You get the chills from it.
Beautiful.
You know, and poor girl was just trying to take the choo-choo to her new job, and Godzilla had other plans. He thought it was a hot dog.
I always say when Godzilla picks up the train like that, it's like, oh, I'm going to swing you like nunchucks.
Exactly, because he does. He's just like, I'm going to grab a hold of this chain, hold on to it for a minute, and you're like, oh no, she falls out of it and somehow survives.
Yes, in the water, thank God, right?
In the water, she gets out, reunites somehow with Shikishima, and you know, like, oh my God, they found each other and they're able to escape.
Yes.
But yet everything is just destroyed in the city, and they're seeing him come. The explosion is coming, and Noriko takes the moment to push Shikishima into an alleyway, saving him from the blast. So she's gone.
What did you think about the way they portrayed the atomic breath in this?
It was wild, dude.
Wasn't that wonderful? Because you're watching it and you're thinking to yourself, okay, it could be the same old thing as everyone, right? Everyone has their own rendition. I think that the most out there version was probably in Shin, with the lasers coming out of the back.
Oh yeah, everything.
But with this one in the spines,
it's like a shotgun. He's like, they're all out, and they all come back in.
And I think this has to be the most lethal atomic breath, laser breath, whatever you want to call it, that when it came out and whatever it hit, it blew up like an atomic.
Obliterated. It did. You got the explosion, the buildings that just turned to a frame.
You know, the stuff that was just nearby, right? That's what she is the wind that blows and blows, and that's what she got blown away with. And I was like,
She's gone.
oh
He
yeah,
comes out of the alleyway, and all you see is destruction. And for all intents and purposes in this part of the film, you think Noriko just sacrificed herself for Shikishima, which again does wonders for his guilt.
exactly. walking, talking, breathing ball of guilt is exactly what.
Yeah, it's just what the, and coming back home to Akiko, and like basically saying that mom's not coming back, and this is where it starts really hitting him, like mom, dad, me, and it's we were a family, and now again another layer of guilt of I just had a family and I squandered it.
Exactly.
And now it's gone. And
Exactly.
again, it's heaviness of this movie. And literally Godzilla's just showing up like, hey, Shikishima, remember you suck? And he's like, oh, I do suck. Oh, I suck so bad. And you're along for the ride because Godzilla now disappears. They're worried. You can't hide it anymore. There is a giant lizard thing that is immune to most anything, it seems. And he can shoot a nuke out his mouth.
And he doesn't run from the military like a bitch, Matthew Broderick.
No, he doesn't. Not at all. Or does he look like an iguana? But
well, that's neither.
But yeah, he. I love by the tank showing up and blasting him. But yeah, he basically disappears back into the water, and now it's all about. We have to save Tokyo because he's going to come to Tokyo. We can't hide this anymore. We have to be prepared.
Yes.
And we got to find a way to do it. And luckily, the little minesweeper boat has a top physicist that says, hey, I got an idea. And everybody that makes fun of his idea, he's like, hey, I don't see you. You got an idea.
Yeah. I love it. I love that they have the town meeting, if you will, where they try to bring in all the retired military guys, the people who survived, and said, "Hey, listen, we need you one more time. The military can't do anything. The government's not going to do anything. We're going to do this ourselves." And how they're like, "Hey, how can we survived a war? Why should we do this again?" And they're like, "Listen, we can't stop this. This is not." I'm not going to be like your ruler who said, "Hey, we're going to win this war." I'm going to tell you, we can't win this war. The military can't win this war. They don't have laser cannons, right?
No.
We
and we don't even know if those would work anyway.
Because they never worked before. So we have to try. And they're like, "Well, what's the guarantee?" He's like, "I can't guarantee shit. But let's try it." And as he was describing what he was doing, I was like, "Going, sciencey science. This makes
science. Science. Yes, we're going to take some Freon and we're going to wrap him around a Freon and let it off, and it's going to make his buoyancy go woo, and he'll sink to the bottom. And when he does, we're going to pull him up really fast so the pressure difference will give him the bends." Sounds pretty solid plan, I guess.
Yeah, when you drop something that fast, the whole point is you drop it that fast, the pressure changes so quick that it'll crush them. And they said if it doesn't, and we yank him back up, then there's a chance it'll basically pull him apart as it comes up. And I'm sitting there going, I'm listening to this going, this sciencey science actually makes sense, a lot more sense than a
giant gorilla wearing a Nintendo Power Glove.
Or a giant gorilla wearing
or was it Thanos's glove? I don't know.
Or a skeleton that somehow maintained the spirit of Ghidorah that made the Mecha Godzilla. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so there was no reaching here. It's pretty solid. Sound like a good plan. And what I would have taken the same route with it when they were like, "Wow, you think this is gonna? You got a better plan?" No, nobody's got a better plan. Might as well give my plan a try.
Yeah.
And
I'd raise my hand and say, "I got a better plan, sir." What's that? I'm taking my family and going to Paris.
Right.
Right.
I'm moving on. I'm definitely not going near Tokyo because so they decide, all right, we're going to go out. We're going to put this plan in action. Of course, it's just these fishermen. With a little bit of backup, we're going to have these battleships and stuff come out, and we're going to put these giant cranes on these two ships, and that'll be plenty to yank up Godzilla. I mean, right? I mean, honestly, he's down in the trench, which, of course, Godzilla, we don't know it, but if you were to look under the water, his little feet are kicking really fast, and that's how he's not standing. He's just
Tail. No, actually, they've talked about this. That as he
they
comes, it's like an okay. First of all, I've seen this with my own two peepers.
mhm.
An alligator can
Yes.
get all the way to its rear legs out of water, and it
Mhm.
does it by using its tail.
By swinging it around, it comes like a whirlpool kind of action
So
where it pushes them up.
that's how Godzilla can come up in the water like that. So
I still like
you,
that feet.
so those of you who don't see, I like it. I like that too. But for those of you who don't know the
Science.
science behind it, it's sciencey
Science. So yeah, they draw him in. Of course, he shows up way earlier than he was supposed to because Godzilla don't wait for no man.
No.
No,
And
he
this whole
comes when he
time,
wants
our hero is getting back into an airplane that has been designed to fight Godzilla, and he knows because of the bomb in his mouth earlier that there might be a way to stop him if this plan fails.
Right.
By
He
using
gets
a metal plane.
right. He gets Tachibana to come back and say, "Hey, I love how he gets them, where he basically sends letters and no answers to the letters. So he's like, "Hey, Odo Island's your fault," and Tachibana's like, "You son of a
You son of a bitch.
no, it's not."
I know where you live.
Right. So he comes and he shows up and he's like, "Listen, we found this experimental airplane. You're the only person I trust. This is what I want to do."
I love the Talking Dead. I just do. I'm sorry. Oh, thank you for that one. That was awesome,
Good one.
BYT. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, he's basically says, "Listen, I was a kamikaze pilot. This was my destiny. What you're going to do is you're going to retrofit that brand new thing with a gun so I can shoot at him and a bunch of bombs because I am going to fly into his mouth. I am going to take the destiny I was given, and I'm doing it. I will be the kamikaze pilot that I was supposed to be." And nobody really knows he's doing this, other than he's helping and that he's going to be in this plane, and the plane will be able to, guide him where he wants Godzilla to go. That's the plan. They don't know the rest. And Tachibana has a little talk with him about, there was never an ejection seat in their planes because they were never meant to come back.
And not only that, but that particular plane that he's getting in was a true life through the history search plane that they were making because it was supposed to be a lot more agile. And that plane definitely would not have an ejection seat because they didn't have they didn't have a way to put it in at the time.
Right.
Sorry.
So they set this plane up. He tells them, we got a 20 millimeter gun in there. We've got a big old bomb in the nose. We've got a big old bomb in the fuselage. You do what you got to do. This should be enough to take him out.
Yes.
So they all go out. He says goodbye to Akiko. And at this point, his neighbor, Auntie, who looked at him as basically a POS for coming back in the first place, and looking to him now is going, no, like we went from the honor of death to honoring the life we're given.
Yes.
And, like you have a kid now, even though it's not your kid, it's still your kid.
Exactly.
And her whole tune changes, it was really good to see in this whole movie, this post-war Japan, where that mentality change of, all or nothing to, no, you have nothing if we're working towards everything. Every life is precious, and we should be working to help each other, not looking for some to throw their lives away.
I agree. Perfect.
And it really hits deep with it. And him just basically saying, "Listen, I've been living with this guilt. My guilt is 30 stories tall, and is coming to Tokyo." Way sooner. Like we had a time schedule, and he jumped the gun,
and he spits nuclear explosions.
Right? Yeah, it's terrible guy. So he takes off. The boats are out there. They start doing their thing to get Godzilla to come, which is, I love it. We're going to take Godzilla's roar.
Uh-huh.
and we're going to backfeed it to some speakers in the water, and he'll think there's another Godzilla, and it's going to piss him off because he's territorial. And you're like, wow, if that does work, why?
Why?
You're really gonna piss, dude. He wasn't. I don't think he was pissed when he came over in Ginza, and he destroyed that place. He's coming for Tokyo,
He
thinking
didn't
there's
care.
another one.
Yeah, he was there and he didn't care. You're giving him a reason to care.
Oh boy, neat.
No.
Yeah. So it starts to work. We've got Godzilla coming. He walks into the trap and he gets the Freon cans around him. The planes are over there kind of shooting at him to keep him corralled, and they hit it. And Godzilla sinks like a rock, like, and he's tethered to these two battleships with these giant reels of cable down 1,500 meters, and they've got it measured. Oh, he's hit 7, 8, 9, 11. Okay, hit the buoyancy, which is basically a shit ton of rafts
Yes.
that they've hooked to this thing to bring him back up. And Godzilla starts to come up, and then he's like, because as he's going down, you see the pressure working on him, crushing, but at the same time regenerating.
Exactly.
You're hardening him.
Yeah. You do realize this is not a good thing that's happening here.
He thinks there's another kaiju, and he just got sunk like a rock, and now you're trying to yank him up, and he's like, oh, no. They can't get him up. The cranes start crashing. Yeah. Godzilla, you sunk my battleship.
You sank my battleship.
And I love the part that the one dude that they leave behind, the younger kid that was on Odo, that was part of the fishing crew, that wanted to be in, and they were like, no, you're the next generation that's going to lead us into prosperity. You can't go. He comes out of nowhere to save the day.
Yes.
With all the tugboats and all the fishing boats, and every boat they got were going to immediately hook up to the lines, which that was some great choreography to get them all together and hook up like that. And
to be honest with you, it's funny. I'm watching a kaiju movie, and that was the only part of the movie that I went, oh, really? You had to go. You're stretching it a little bit. You
stretched that. Yeah. You got hooked up some. You know how many lines you had to throw for that?
A lizard spit, an atomic breath out that caused a nuclear explosion, and that's where I want to draw the line.
Right. Oh no. So they're pulling. It starts to work. They got Godzilla up, and Godzilla's like, "Yeah, I'm back. Now I'm pissed." The plates start moving, and he's ready to pop a shell in the chamber.
Yes,
and here comes Shikishima with the experimental plane. Boom. Right into Godzilla's mouth as the atomic breath is going to come out. Saves Tokyo from a lizard and halitosis.
The world's worst halitosis.
The world's worst. It's so bad. It's nuclear. And blows up, taking the head off of this terrible lizard. And you're like, oh, it's hitting you as the viewer. Like, they got Godzilla and he gave his life, and look, a parachute.
Yay.
Toshibana put an ejection seat in the thing and basically told him, like, hey, dude, you have a family, you have a life here. We want you to come back. This isn't the right way. It isn't dying with honor. Yep. You need to do your duty, but then you need to come back to us. And he's able to parachute out, comes down, he makes it. This is where, like, shit gets so emotional because...
Well, hold on just a second, because now the guy who hated him going in because of his cowardice,
right?
The neighbor who tolerated him, although she hated him because of his cowardice, both, by the end of the movie, were totally changed their point of view and was like, hey, we want you to come back. We want you to be...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he has that flashback of his, parents. We want you to come back alive. You've got this. He makes it back to Akiko, and wouldn't you know it, somebody comes and whispers in his ear, and he goes running with Akiko to a hospital to find Noriko in the hospital bed alive. And I'm not quite sure what happened after because I was trying to wipe some dust and stuff out of my eyes. It was hard to see.
Did you have the same? Someone
Yeah.
was messed up in my theater too.
It's so weird. The end of -1, there's allergies. Like, it's
I
weird.
don't know. Crying. I think I was allergic to Godzilla in this movie. So
Like, and it's mommy and daddy, and she looks at like Shikishima. Is your war over? Oh,
I know.
oh,
Oh my god!
oh,
What
you
a
got me.
great line!
You got me. And he's like, yeah, my war's over. And they're going to come together, and you're like, oh, cool. But wait a minute. What about, don't worry, they got you. As the sinking leftover flesh of Godzilla is going to the bottom of the trench, wouldn't you know, it looks like it's kind of regenerating into a heart, thumping and moving, and we cut to black. And, oh, see?
And then
Okay.
as the credits are rolling, you hear that famous roar again.
Yeah.
So BYT, Ubaldo, we have great news for you. This director has been given a green light to make a second.
Yeah.
So we're going to get another one.
We're going to get another real Toho.
Yep. And
Yamazaki film.
it is supposed to be a Godzilla and another kaiju. So this should be a lot of fun. As you guys, if you haven't been watching live tonight, I will tell you right now that our chat room has been full of wonderful comments on this, and everyone is saying has said the same thing that Chris and I did, that we walked into this hoping for a good, fun kaiju movie and walked out of the theater totally amazed at the wonderful storytelling that was used. If you would have told me going in, Alan, you're going to go see -1, and you're actually going to see one of the best love stories you've seen in a long time, if not ever, I would have told you crazy. It's a Godzilla movie.
How could they fit that in? That's impossible. It's not.
No, it's because someone took the time to write a good story where they used Godzilla in a way to actually bolster our human story versus being the central story, even though his name's on the title.
And
That's the way I feel about it.
And honestly, a post-war Japan movie involving post-war Japan that really gives you a sense of what it might have felt like, at least in some way, the despair, the hardships, the mentality shift of, you throw lives at it until it ends, to life is precious and you don't waste it, as we were. So
perfect point, Gibalto. Perfect point.
Academy Award.
First time ever Godzilla wins an Academy Award.
70 movies.
Yeah, and if you ask me personally, the soundtrack for the original Gojira probably should have won one. It is, in my opinion, that Godzilla theme is right up there with Star Wars as far as the actual theme is concerned. It's that iconic, and to me, it's that moving. It just is.
To answer BYT, so much of what made -1 work was the good human story. So my question is, do they fight? The focus on the same humans for a sequel, messing with that happy ending, or do you create a new intriguing story? I hope there is somewhat of a new intriguing story. I hope Shikishima and Noriko and Akiko are good. We ended that, and now we can bring him back with another story. Would be great.
I think what would be really cool is if it starts out with our two main characters as elderly people.
Yeah.
Kind of
That'd be interesting.
Teaching Akuri how I'm sorry, I mispronounced the name. Akiko, teaching Akiko and talking to Akiko about her time as an infant, and that she is the next character to be.
That would be cool.
I think that would be.
I'd be down for that.
Tie the lineage together without it being something that's pushing.
Yeah. Once again, this movie was really well done. I'm so amazed that a movie showing the losing side, if you would, of
Yeah.
post war,
It's so
and
it's so hard to pull off too.
and the title to living up to the title, that
It-
minus one.
Mhm.
Everything about this movie was really good. Of course, it's a Godzilla movie. There's moments in there where you're like, "What the? Oh, it's a Godzilla movie. Calm down. It's not Manila. You
Yeah,
know,
God.
it's not. It's
Monster Island, thank God.
yeah, it's not. But we got a really good story out of this. So,
Yeah.
uh, when it comes to rating this movie on a 1 to 10, ooh, this movie is, and like I said, to feel the emotion the
Yeah.
third time watching through it, to get
Yep.
it's so good to get invested in this movie, and it's
is.
really fun. You got Godzilla destroying stuff. You have a great story in the background. So honestly, this is a 9.5 movie, if not a 10. It's
Not a-
hard to hit 10, but I tell you what, man, on a given day, I'd lean 10 easy.
I will say that I don't believe that this is a 10. I think that you're right though. I think it's a 9 to a 9.5. And the only reason I said that is because I did have that one moment where I was like, really, did you have to go there? Because it seemed to be, it seemed like you didn't really need to bring in the other character. I would have been happy
Mhm.
with being at home rooting them on, right?
Oh yeah.
Or even they come back and maybe someone did, or one or two of the people didn't make it, and he's heartbroken because he's like, if you would have let me go, I could have been there to help. Something along those lines. I would have been
Right.
better with that than everyone going, oh look, the tugboats are here to save the battleships, right? But
Yeah.
but it's okay, no big
It's
deal.
okay. That's like I
So
said, a 9.5 is solid for me as far as
9.5.
rating. You got to go see it. Ubaldo's on. He's right here. After this, go watch it again.
Absolutely, and to be honest with you, I'm hoping because my wife watched this, is watching this tonight. I'm hoping I can finally talk her into watching it with me because I think that she'll be pleasantly surprised on how wonderful the movie itself is and how the characters are. Now comes the fun part, Chris. That we're both at 9.5. I think this is a top 10 movie for us. What do you think? But I'll be willing to.
I listen. For me, let me bring up my end of the sometimes hilarious, intentionally tasteless list that we have created in order to drive people insane, including ourselves. Except for Zombievers, we've somewhat fixed that. Honestly, this is a top 5 movie for me.
Ooh, see, that's where we get kind of hard. All
Then
right.
that's when I bring up our list here, and I look at the top 10 and say, "Ooh, definitely easy in the top 10 for me."
Okay, I agree with you.
Our top 5 are solid movies that you and I have liked for since they've come out.
Yes.
So that being said,
I'm telling you that that I'm going to have a hard okay, for sentimental reasons. I'm going to have a really hard time putting it in front of Lost Boys.
that's
Even
where I'm at.
right?
Right at the Lost Boys cusp is where I kind of stumble when I say top 5, because when it comes to the nostalgia and the greased up sax player, there's many roadblocks that
I'm getting ready to say
push
this, and I can't believe I'm getting ready to say this. You can tell me no.
oh
That's where I think it should go.
where'd you got it?
I wouldn't be pained to put it there, but definitely I'm thinking maybe in the 4 to 5 range. What do you think?
I'm right there with you. Like I said, on a given day, I could easily. And yes, Gilbert, thanks for stopping
Hi,
by.
Gilbert.
This
Good
list
to
is
see you,
this
my
list is
friend.
to piss a lot of people off. It drives us insane sometimes too, but it's okay because we lock them in, and maybe there's a vote down the road. Okay.
Yes.
So you've got him sitting right behind Sam, and in front of our new Evil Dead Rise. And I'll tell you what, I'm good with it being right there at number 4. This is a top 5 movie for me, dude.
Uh, uh, oh God, it's so painful. But you know what we're gonna do? You know what we're getting ready to happen? What's getting to happen? Lock it in.
Oh, it's done.
It's at
It's a top
4.
5.
It's at 4.
Top
Our
5.
4 is The Thing, Pearl, Trick or Treat, Godzilla Minus One, and Evil Dead Rise. You know what? If you like it, great. If you don't like it, so what? That's our list.
Yeah, I mean, we have to live with it. So,
You're right, we do.
yeah, LG, honestly, I love The Lost Boys, and I will watch that over and over.
Same.
But at the same time, Minus One, I've watched it 8 times, I think, already.
I
7 times. 7 times.
so I'll be honest with you. I watched it. I went to the theater and saw it, and as soon as it started on streaming, I watched it 4 times before I even said to you, "Hey, dude, have you seen this yet?" I was enamored with this film, and I'm really, really hoping that people who aren't normally Godzilla fans will take the time with this one because I'm telling you right now, this is a fantastic film. Did you see what Gilbert just said there?
I
You
do. I
guys,
agree. We just throw that on the wheel.
are you ready? Hold on a second. By the
Yep.
way, speaking of wheels, let's just do this right now. Let's do this. Let's go. And if you'll see what I'm doing right down here is I'm putting 7 on
7's on there.
as we
Good call, Gilbert. Good call. She's going on the wheel. Now, what we do with this wheel is every week we give her a spin because we can't decide which ones to watch because there's so many movies that we watch. I mean, I just watch movies for the sake of watching movies and then go, hey, maybe we should add this to the list because it was kind of a gem. Or I'm not going to mention to Alan I watched this movie unless he brings it up because this was terrible.
Yeah,
So,
and
that's what happens.
we've been known from time to time to do a couple movies that are terrible.
Some schlock is always good to throw in the mix. But
And
every week we spin this wheel and we figure out what we're going to do for the next episode.
Are you ready?
Let's spin the wheel. Where are we going next week?
Let's see what will we be watching next week, ladies and gentlemen. Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
So we
All
just
right.
we've been hitting the newer films. This is
We
a
have been.
fun one. If you haven't seen it, this is I think it's available. Let's check real quick.
Let's
Chris,
check.
if you would mind. I believe it's available on Tubi for free, but I can't swear to that. So let's find out for sure.
We're
because-
fine and we're bringing it up to watch, and it is on Tubi for free.
Hey, so if you haven't seen Autopsy of Jane Doe, it is on Tubi for free. We will be covering that next week here on Thursday Night Frights, a division of Grave Reviews. Chris, is there anything you would like to say to the people who are watching tonight before we sign off?
Don't forget before you leave, to stab that like button, slash the subscribe button, ring the bell, toll that bell. That way you're notified every time we go live. Thank you for everybody in the Talking Dead for showing up. We got some great discussion in there, and thank you, Gilbert, for another addition to the Wheel of Terror. We haven't quite gotten that right yet. The wheel we spin. So next week, we're going to the Autopsy of Jane Doe, another free Tubi movie, which is great for us. LG just put in the chat on the link to our bio link. Words are hard. Yeah. So bio.link/graverev. That's where you can go to. All of our socials are there. All of them. We're on everywhere. And including our email where you can reach out to us with suggestions. You can hop in the chat and some suggestions. Before you leave, you can check out a little comment on the bottom. Whatever you feel. You love the movie, you hate the movie. You got a suggestion, reach us out in all the DMs as well as the email. But yeah, help us with the algorithm getting us around here.
Yes.
And until we see you next episode with Autopsy of Jane Doe, stay spooky, friends.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you saw how easy that was, but Fulcrum Entertainment, our friend Gilbert, stopped in and said, hey, guys, I'd like for you to review this movie. And I immediately put it on our list so that it is there as an option for us to review. That's what we want. We want your input. We want you to say, hey, guys, I like this movie, or I saw this movie and I think you guys are going to hate it. Whatever the case may be,
That's
let
fun
us
too.
know. That's why we're here, is to have fun. We had someone earlier in the night say, "Hey, listen, I'm here tonight because I love this movie, but I don't normally like horror." And as you can tell by the way we review things, we laugh, we cut up, we have a good time, we review, we will roast absolutely every single time, no matter what movie it is. And Sharknado 2 is not on the wheel at this point, because I don't know if you're going to like this or not, but if we review it, it will take the place of one, and one will come off of the shit list. Just because I'm mean and I know what it means to you.
Just because of Ian Ziering, you knew what you did.
You know what you did, Tara Reid.
Tara Reid.
Oh, anyway, no, all kidding aside, you give us the suggestion, we put it on the list. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. Thank you for coming by tonight. We had a great time gushing about this. I'm so glad, Chris, that we were able to finally talk about this. We both absolutely just fell in love with it. I can't believe it's on number 4. I can't believe we did that. Anyway,
Well, it makes sense. We're two Godzilla fans and have been since we were kids. It makes sense that it makes it into the top 5 for this one.
Yep. And I'd be willing to review any Godzilla movie that doesn't contain a certain son of. Anyway, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, until we meet again, which should be next Thursday night, as we talk about the autopsy of Jane Doe. As we always like to say as we're signing off, ladies and gentlemen, please may all of your nightmares be groovy. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you then.
Guys.